One of the more classic jokes on the internet is that the only reason the pyramids are still in Egypt is because they were too big to be stolen by the British Museum. Now, I take great offense at this joke. Just because some of our employees here at the museum were slacking does not mean that the British Museum is not capable of stealing the pyramids. I mean, for crying out loud, we stole the Elgin marbles, and we didn't even own Greece when we did it. As such, I want to defeat these slanderous accusations of incompetence towards the British Museum today, clarify that if our employees weren't so lazy, we would have stolen the pyramids and the rest of the Parthenon, and the Hagia Sophia, since we're in the area. Look, you got me started. This is your fault, not mine. So we were taking Mount Fuji. That's mine now too. Sorry. I mean, it is straight. We need to steal everything. To enable this correction of the historical record, I have now loaded into the EU4 British Museum mod. Let's go through the changes. So here we are in the world. I've loaded into England, and I've also decided to straight away go to the Great Projects map mode, because the main change of the mod, as it were, is that every single great project in the world, everything from the Duomo di Milano to I believe this is the Palace of the Popes, to, hey, the Notre Dame Cathedral, is now considered a movable monument. Now, Stonehenge is already movable, so that's a bit awkward, and the Tower of London is already in London, so you can't really move it, but to demonstrate, if we happen to have the 3,000 ducats lying around, we could start moving Edinburgh Castle down to London. To be clear, every single monument in the game actually has a movement cost associated with it that Paradox generously provided. It's just unfortunately most things, like Edinburgh Castle, are not considered movable, so we'll be using the default values. Another different, slight adjustment, shall we say, is I did not like this discrimination that you couldn't use certain monuments just because you didn't have the right religion or culture to use them, which frankly is downright stupid, right? I don't need to be Muslim to go to the Taj Mahal, so I decided to end this discrimination by removing all conditions, apart from the complete specific mission conditions, on both movement and using of every single monument in the game. So, if I want to go to this little fire temple thing, I can do it. Do I want the Jogtan temple? Absolutely, no discrimination here. There is, of course, going to be some slight potential issues with such a free approach. For example, the Palace of the Popes does give you a cardinal, which might be an issue if you're not Catholic, because you'll be something like Orthodox Christian with a cardinal, might have some issues going on there. And indeed, there's one issue I foresaw, and that is going to be the one monument in the game that changes your trade good when upgraded. Now, I'll let you place your guesses and give you a countdown, but if you didn't pause the video within the next countdown, that's on you for getting the spoiler. Anyway, your countdown is 3, 2, 1. The monument is, of course, Zacatec Mine City. When upgraded, conventionally, if the province does not produce gold, it will change the trade good to gold. If it already produces gold, it will give you 1 base production at all 3 levels. However, I thought putting gold in London will be a bit awkward compared to what I've prepared for London, so I did remove that feature from this monument. It just gives you 1 base production always and does not change your trade good anymore. The reason for that is, of course, as part of the mod changes, I've introduced a new trade good, artifacts, which will be produced exclusively in London. Unfortunately, it does decrease your diplomatic reputation if you produce artifacts. And here, of course, I ran into the second issue of what's the total price of artifacts, and I thought, that would be quite expensive. Now, is a 10 ducat trade good on arguably one of the best provinces in the game a estuary entry port center of trade, because you have the Thames estuary and the entry port on a farmland in the best trade node in the game? Is that overpowered? Absolutely. It's absolutely overpowered. Are you new here? If you are, then please consider subscribing. We're almost at 46,000 subscribers, and I'd love to hit that milestone. I would say this is not the typical type of video I would create, but that would be a lie. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Now, of course, the problem with making every single monument movable is I tried the best I can to make the AI not want to move all the monuments that are currently there into their capital. And the way I achieved this is I actually multiplied all the weights for moving monuments by 0. So the AI should have 0 weight to move the monuments. And while that did significantly decrease the AI weight to move the monuments, I found that they still kind of eventually do it, so we have a bit of a goose chase on our hands if we do try to move every single monument into our capital, which believe me, we will try. But another thing that I want to address is just how quickly overpowered this province is going to become. Because, well, firstly, let's consider siege in this province. If we can move Kronberg into our capital, we'll get 33% defensiveness, but also +2 naval combat bonus of owned coast, which in our case is going to be just a Dogger Bank, but it does mean that we are going to absolutely decimate everyone with a +3 dice roll in this area. But this 33% defensiveness isn't the only defensiveness buff. In fact, a lot of monuments are forts, so places like Marlborough Castle are going to give us 100% defensiveness, as is, say, a Citadel in Aleppo for +30% defensiveness and a local dice roll, or even Oh, I don't know, how about this fortress in Georgia for another 50% defensiveness and local fort maintenance and local assault fort ability? Basically, by the end of this campaign, London is going to become a genuinely unassaultable fortress. But it's not going to be just that, it's also going to get filthy rich. I know, what a surprise, because things like the Dutch polders, of course, give you global goods produced and things like that, but of course that's a global modifier. The Amsterdam area is going to give us 20% local trade value, which is quite strong if we decide to move, when we move Falun Copper Mine, otherwise known as the Falun Artifact Excavation Site, for +9 local goods produced worth of artifacts. Okay, look, it's not a copper mine, we're excavating artifacts, stop asking questions. Indeed, I've actually heard rumors that Sierra do Potosi is not actually just a movable mountain, it is quite literally a mountain that gives 15% local goods produced towards any local excavations, as well as giving +3 local goods produced worth of trade goods in the area. And look, it's just a really big artifact site, okay? Stop asking questions. There's just a lot of artifacts in London. We even know how they got there. It was me. I took them there. And I mean, even the aforementioned Zapotec Mine City is going to give us 3 goods produced. So again, stop asking questions, okay? London is going to absolutely print money. Like, London is going to be so ridiculously filthy rich that the rest of the country may as well not exist. Like, investing anything into the rest of the country is a waste of time, because we should just be investing everything into London because of just how rich it's going to be. Anyway, London isn't just going to be filthy rich, it's going to get a lot of other fun small local modifiers. For example, this castle is going to give us 50% the local manpower modifier in London, as is the Kremlin, which does say it's the Moscow Kremlin, which is a bit weird because it's going to be in London, but it's going to give us another 100% local manpower, as well as, you guessed it, more defensiveness. And, this isn't just manpower, of course, because once we take the Spellum Tower from Portugal, we're going to pick up 15% more local trade power, and, oh, would you look at that? 50% more local manpower. And hey, even 25% more sailors. It's going to get quite funny, actually, because of course some monuments give you local institution growth plus 0.5 like this one, which does mean that indeed we're going to get loads of institution growth just passively in London. There is a slight issue, that it does unlock decisions which allow us to embrace legalism and mysticism, which is going to be a bit awkward considering we're probably not going to be going Muslim, so I'm not sure what happens if we ever do embrace legalism and mysticism. May want to make a save for that one, but I think it'll be interesting. And of course, the Great Wall of China, yeah, we're taking the whole thing, we're taking it to London, we're going to put it in London, and it's going to be a big Great Wall of Britain. Look, if this thing can keep the Mongolians out, it should work against the French, okay? Now, as always, a link to the mod will be available in the description if this interests you. Furthermore, I'm introducing a new stream campaign, aka this one, because I want to try the whole live streaming thing more. Coming to a computer screen near you on Friday, or phone screen, however you wish to enjoy them, I will be streaming the British Museum run as England. Nothing too special, this is a shitpost meme overpowered campaign after all. I just want to have fun stealing monuments and painting the map. And if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to pop in. Anyway, as mentioned, I'll be streaming on Friday at 6 PM GMT for all the UK peeps, which is 7 PM for Central European enjoyers, and if you're in America, well, that's 10 AM if you're in the Pacific time zone, my apologies, and if you're in the Eastern Standard Time, that's still 1 PM. Hopefully, when this campaign comes to its inevitable conclusion, I can stream other things too. Let's just say I have a lot of ideas of fun runs to do. But with that said, that is going to be all the time I have for today. Thank you very much for watching, with a special thank you to my channel members, especially Ark, Solar, W Haste, Suleiman, Star72, Lord Zendikar, Nick Fassbender, Nanhatan, Nick Haas, The Awesome Rabbit, Best Pro Gaming, Grandmo Flavian, Connor, Andreas Albug, Deki, Sov, Mobkiller, Anthony35, AC Napo, Glorious Leader, Zerkis, and Mr. Koomshock.